Hey yo, what's up? You know what it is? It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. live on Team GRF TV. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks on. And yo, the Royal Rumble. 30 men into, only one will point at a WrestleMania sign. But this year we're making history. 30 women are going to get in a ring, and then 29 of them eliminated, and then a woman will point at the WrestleMania sign because, it's been the first time in history where, a woman will actually win a Royal Rumble because there have been women in Royal Rumbles and things like that. But a woman will win the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, and we will get to that. The thing is, before we get to the business at hand, I want to rap with y'all for a minute. Because, see, the thing that gets weird as we start our road to WrestleMania is when you get to like the big pay-per-views, the SummerSlams, the Royal Rumbles, the WrestleManias, and the Survivor Series where you have extra time to build because these are combined pay-per-views and weird things happen. There have been a couple of weird things that have happened. Mainly two things that we should just take 2 seconds and just, talk about to say we did. He's a certified alleged rapist and a bona fide dickhead if he did it. And you may be able to teach that. My boy Enzo, I'm like, yo, this could not have happened at a worse time for my guy Enzo Amore. Could never happen because, see, the thing that I legitimately believe, for real, this heel work as the Cruiserweight champion has been great stuff. It's like Enzo was already a polarizing figure when he was with Big Ass or whatever. But it's like he was able to turn up the heel factor to 11 when he got on 205 Live. You know what I'm saying? He was able to turn that heel factor up to 11. And it was in that I appreciate what it was that Enzo was doing. So it sucks hard for somebody to sit up here and say, well, you raped me and now you don't get to do the thing you do. It's like, we don't know how this is going to end. It's like, this could go one or two ways. Either Enzo did that shit, or he didn't do that shit. And depending on whether he did that or did not do that shit, we might see him and we might not, depending on this, he may or may not have done. So we will see. On SmackDown, that last pay-per-view we talked about, we talked about that boy Dolph Ziggler. He won the title, U.S. title. He comes out on SmackDown the following Tuesday, does the usual I'm Ziggler and showing off and giving himself his own pat on the back parade, which then he then says, I quit, and relinquishes the title. And then now, after a tournament, Bobby Roode's the champion. I'm like, glorious, I won't give in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves that song. Weird stuff. So, as it stands right now, even before I could take 2 seconds to talk about Raw 25, and you know what? I will save that because the thing I wanted to talk about with Raw 25 is actually a match on the pre-show that I don't watch because y'all know how I get down. I don't watch pre-show matches. It is what it is. But Raw 25, I remember watching the first episode of Monday Night Raw. I have not missed an episode of Monday Night Raw. Even when I was on this thing of, not trying to watch Raw, I still watch Raw every week. That was when, Cena was coming up major. I call myself, I want to watch TNA. I still watch Raw. I wouldn't watch it live, but I would watch it because that was back in the day when USA was showing repeats, right before they start putting that stuff on the Universal Network or whatever. But I ain't missed an episode of Raw and won't miss an episode of Raw. So congratulations to Raw doing this thing, Vinnie Mac Diesel, the genetic Jack Hammer, and all of those stuff. Now, with all the praise being out the way, trying to figure out whether or not The Undertaker is going to actually wrestle with WrestleMania, something about D-Generation X and the NWO, and a whole bunch of other things, how about we talk about this damn pay-per-view and those, pre-show matches that I watch? It was, some guys off 205 Live wrestling other guys from 205 Live, and given the results of this, it was seen that the good guys off 205 Live beat the bad ones. I can name who they are, but do you know who they are now? But just for, purposes. Kalisto, Gran Metalik, and Liz Dorado defeated TJP, Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. What Gulak gonna do now that the certified alleged rapist ain't around? Like, his character was getting really good hanging around Enzo, just being like, just being his technical hype man, I guess you want to call it. But everybody else, I don't know. I do wonder what they gonna do about my boy Cedric Alexander, given that he more likely than not, if he wasn't going to win the title here, that the feud may have carried all the way to WrestleMania where he may have won it. So maybe they do another tournament. It's kind of weird that they didn't do anything, so I don't really know, but it is what it is. So we will, keep you updated on 205 Live, which I don't watch, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much wrestling you can absorb. They'll talk about it on Raw, the second pre-show match of the night, my boys, The Revival, and I'm like, I am very happy they beat 2/3 of Balor Club, which I still think is a stupid name. Not that, I'm not saying that Finn Balor's a stupid name. I just think Balor Club is dumb. I think the whole Balor Club thing is dumb. The whole we own the NWO sign thing from Vince McMahon, that's equally stupid. Bullet Club is amazing. Da 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 da. The thing is, I feel for my boys Dash and Scott. I feel for my boys Mr. Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. If it wasn't for all these injuries and the way that the show is written and all of that, they would be the champions. I really honestly thought that when the Revival came out on the night after WrestleMania, they was finna put work in. Injuries and random things and, My Black Son and all this old random garbage and the Shield and everything that's weird about the Raw Tag Division, you would have thought by now the Revival would be the champions, but they are not. I feel for them. Hopefully, given what took place here tonight and what they may do with that when it comes to the Tag Team Division, maybe in a couple of months after WrestleMania, or maybe they win it before, I don't know. Given dependent, it'll be really interesting once they let the Revival do their thing, to do their thing. Speaking of, and I probably could have said it, but I put it all up at the front. Bobby Roode had a match against Mojo Rawley, open, challenge, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate, Mojo's mean streak now. I'm like, he wasn't doing nothing. He wasn't doing nothing in the hype bros anyway. And it's like, what you really gonna do when your tag partner is the internet world champion or something? I don't know. I thought that was still a kick-ass belt, though. Let's just say that. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Mojo Rawley from here. It'll be equally interesting to really see how long Bobby Roode is going to be U.S. champion, given what happened later in the evening, and we will talk about that. Now, how about we talk about the real pay-per-view? The one that you pay $9.99 for, or steal it, or however you watch it. Let's talk about this pay-per-view. The build-up to that boy, the phenomenal AJ Styles versus that boy KO and Sami Zayn has been one of the weirdest builds I have been privy to in a long while. And you may be like, weird trip? Yeah. See, a couple of months ago, Kevin Owens was feuding with Shane McMahon. And, they were having fun. Shane jumped off of a thing. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were best friends again, like Rob and Big, when they weren't best friends. I don't really know. It's like this whole build has been weird. It's like, why is there a handicap match for the championship? And I'm just like, well, you think about it and you can tend to be like, well, lay cool if you really want to, dig into your history books or whatever, because they were co-champions. But given what happened on SmackDown, was they needed to, even in the losing effort, because AJ Styles won this match, just to put this out there, that they needed to make it look like, right? KO had to sell that my leg is up. He had to sell that. Sami Zayn, A-OK. And given this information, Sami Zayn will never be in another championship match as long as he wrestles for World Wrestling Entertainment. And sad Sami Zayn from Canada, but you ain't smelling nowhere near a World Heavyweight Championship. And not that you want a talented individual, that you want anything, but you shouldn't be on internet be like, yo, you know, my opinions and stuff, Muslims and things. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but when you sit up here and make yourself a polarizing figure like that, it's kind of hard for the company to put a belt on you. At the same time, like I said, they had to sit up here and have KO feign his injury, which is how AJ ended up winning this match by putting himself in a weird pinning position and pulling KO's leg back so that he could sell it because, well, you know, it is what it is. What happens with the title from here, and we will get to that later, should be interesting given what the build is going to be thanks to how the Royal Rumble ended. Spoiler alert. I have no idea what's going to happen with the boy KO and Sammy. I hope they don't break him up or do anything strange because as non-weird or weird as this is about to say, KO worked really great when he has someone to bounce off of. Like, when him and Jericho were doing whatever it was they were doing, it was amazing stuff to watch. The rise and the complete implosion of KO and that boy Jericho, as it were, ship names. It is equally great that not only is it KO and it's Sammy, but you got Daniel Bryan in the background too. So it's just been nuts. And it's like I said, KO worked really great when he got people to bounce off his stuff off. When it's just him being big, strong, big dude, doing big dude things that can whoop anybody on any given night. When he was Sami Zayn and when he was with Jericho, he could sit up here and have somebody to bounce off of to do comedic dumb stuff. And that's what I really appreciate about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn doing their thing together. Even though, you know, powerbomb you on the apron of the ring or whatever, but it is what it is. Staying with the SmackDown lean, right? The Usos and them boys, American Alpha 2.0. In the Uso Penitentiary match, which is just a normal match for 2 out of 3 falls. See, the Usos won, right? But I don't think the Usos were supposed to win like that. That was a botched finish. But the rules in WWE are, if it counts 3, we got to make it look legit. That being aside, that the Usos swept them on a technicality because, you know, somebody botched something, right? It was still an amazing match. And I'm like, the thing is that I feel for real is that we got robbed. Like, of what could have been a for real classic. Because the Usos have been putting in this work. Jimmy and Jey Uso have been putting in this work in this tag team division. Every time they get in the ring, you know you about to get the business. So it's a shame that the match ended this way on what I feel was probably a botched finish. But it is what it is with that. And it's like you can't do nothing. So it does make me wonder what it is they're going to do if and or. So we'll see. Oh, there was a Royal Rumble, right? You know how the Royal Rumble works, right? 30 guys, over the top rope, last one standing wins, da-da-da-da-da. In between there, we get a couple of interesting people and things like that from, you know, random places, NXT, you know, other promotions. At the end of the day, the Men's Royal Rumble, it murdered. It was a great match. Is that... Let me say this. One of my picks to win it won. That being, of course, the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura, who is going to WrestleMania, and we'll talk about who he's going to face in a minute. My other pick, my guy, that boy Finn Balor, I really thought that boy was going to take it to the limit. I really thought that he was going to win this Royal Rumble. But he didn't. But it's like, yo, he put in his work, and it was amazing to see and to watch that boy Finn Balor work. I'm like, I appreciate, because you know it's all about the surprises. You know it's all about the surprises. I'm like, yo, that boy Ty Dillinger was supposed to be 10 2 years in a row. Nope. KO and Zayn whooped his ass, and Sami Zayn went out there like, yo, cuz, I'm finna handle that, and went out there and put in some work for a while. You know what I'm saying? It was wonderful. And then, Sheamus got eliminated right after that boy Sami Zayn came out, which was equally weird. Andrade Almas, he came out at number 7, whatever. It's like, what was weird, like, right before that, Elias was like, yo, walk with Elias. And I sit up here and wonder, like, why they stop calling him Elias Sampson? And it's like, but they do that to everybody. Remember, Big E was once Big E Langston, who was also in this match. So it just gets weird when it's like we shorten people to the names. It's like Cesaro is the Swiss Cyborg now instead of the Swiss Superman. I have no idea when the hell this happened, but I figured we'd talk about it. It gets weird around the 20 spot, right? Because, see, Cena come out, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, John Cena sucks, or whatever, and do that. Following it behind him at number 21, that boy, Shane Helms, came out as the Hurricane, you know what I'm saying? And more on technically this a little bit later. But it was good to see that. It was good to see that boy. It was good to see that boy, Gregory Helms, putting in this work. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have came out as one member of 3 Count. That would have been funny. 3 Count, we do stuff and we sing 3 Count or something. I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know, man. I'm like, Adam Cole, after the war he was in at TakeOver, came out at 23. Then we get to 27. Mr. 619, Rey Mysterio, here we go. I'm like, I swear I just saw this fool wrestling last week somewhere else across the pond or something. Like, this dude was like, on what? Lucha Underground. I'm like, they like, yo, Rey Mysterio, we forgive you. Eddie Guerrero, blah, 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 more on Eddie Guerrero later. And then Dolph Ziggler came out at number 30 after you technically retired, and I'm just like, okay. Like, nothing is wrong with this. I'm like, yo, this was a stacked men's Royal Rumble. Shinsuke Nakamura is your winner. He gets the opportunity to point at the WrestleMania sign first. And he will be facing AJ Styles at WrestleMania. So, let's think about this quickly for a second before we move on to our next match or whatever. Let's just think about this, because I want you guys to legitimately remember this. Remember, 2 years ago, AJ Styles came out, blew the roof off the place when he came out in the Royal Rumble. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. People thought it was a DMX song. Then remember, he feuded with Jericho, right? And you thought it was over. And then they booked him at WrestleMania for Jericho to go over because, I don't know. To fast forward to now, AJ Styles is going to be headlining WrestleMania with Shinsuke Nakamura. Let me repeat that sentence for you one more time. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the phenomenal one and the artist, headlining WrestleMania. Yeah. Indeed. See, this has been a good day for me. When I get to say sentences like the one I just uttered in 2 different ways, we doing some good. We are doing some good in the universe when AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura are going to be headlining WrestleMania. Amazing feeling. Just wanted to just put that out there. Congratulations to Shinsuke Nakamura. Congratulations to all 30 contestants of the Royal Rumble. But Shinsuke Nakamura is your guy. Him and AJ gonna tear the house down at WrestleMania. Gonna be worth the ticket price. Now that we've now that we've taken care of that, you know what I'm saying, we can get to other things. The Bar won the title against, Seth Rollins and My Black Son. What is there to really say? I'm like, Jason Jordan costing the title, and this will be used to, try to elevate this character, even though no one likes him, and they chant, he sucks, and he does suck for real. I'm like, I still sit up here and try to sit up here in my head and figure out, hey, why did you separate American Alpha? Hell, why did they put the titles on? Let's, you know what, quickly, we just finna go through just the through line through this, because I just wanna. Why did they put the titles that early on American Alpha in the first place? Why did they then break up American Alpha? Why did they send My Black Son over to Raw to become My Black Son? None of this made sense, and it still doesn't. Just zero, period. No. It's just like, whatever. I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see what the Bar do with the titles. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I remember a couple of years ago, I was complaining about Mick Foley putting these fools together, and now they've been the 4-time tag team champions. So it's like, we don't set the bar, we are the bar. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Bing, bang, boom. Just like that. In other news, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, and Kane killed each other. But Kane ate the pin, and Brock Lesnar's still the champion. So, Now, I'm not sitting up here trying to understate what the match is or was. I'm just saying this. We have to do whatever it takes at this juncture to make Braun Strowman look strong until Brock is ready to go back to his farm, bang his wife, and milk a cow. It just is what it is. It's just going to be that. Are they grooming Braun Strowman to be champion? I don't know. No one else is in the main event other than Braun Strowman. But see, the thing is, Braun Strowman is in a weird place like Enzo was before he won the Cruiserweight Championship. He was somebody that, and this is Zoe I'm talking about, right? And I'm talking about Braun Strowman to a degree too, who can sit up here and be amazing and not ever hold the belt. And I really think Braun Strowman could walk around and be the monster among men, never hold a title, and still be amazing. At some point, Brock Lesnar is going to get tired, and he going to get bored, and he going to want to drop that title because he needs something else to do. Because, again, Brock Lesnar, they can just put the title on him whenever it is they feel like it. Because it's like, when I sit up here and think about this, completely dismissed from all the years that I have been interacting with wrestling in this way, reviewing it in one way or another, whether through my blog or whether through this, and the weird rise of Brock Lesnar in the WWE when he came back is, I didn't believe the plan for that boy Brock Lesnar, aka Borg Laser. I didn't believe. But see, now in super hindsight, that makes sense. See, when you don't have the title on TV and you don't have the champion to deal with every week, it makes the show better. Because the only time you see that boy Paul Heyman do what Paul Heyman do better than anybody in the business, when it's time for Brock to take some food to Suplex City. But until it's time for someone to take a trip to Suplex City, you can focus on the rest of the roster. Like, again, I just brought up Zoe, right? Zoe made a legitimate point that before he was champion, y'all was in the first hour. Just like if Eric Bischoff was running Monday Nitro. Y'all in the main event of Raw repeatedly. Main event slots, main event matches, because Zoe was the champion and was able to elevate that. But because you didn't have a Brock Lesnar who needed to come out at the end of the night every week, you have these things to happen, and you have other things to happen that we could go down and name a list. But still, are they ever gonna put the strap on Braun? See, they protected Braun Strowman again by that boy Good Guy Glenn taking the pin. That rhymed. So, it should be interesting to see what the road to WrestleMania brings. Is Brock just going to... Because Brock won the title at WrestleMania last year from Goldberg. Let us remember that was a thing that happened in the life that we lived. That Brock Lesnar won the title from Goldberg, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, by the way, just to remind you. So, what happens with the Universal title as long as Brock Lesnar holds it is that the only person who legitimately they've built up who can take the title off Brock is that dude Braun. So, are you really finna sit up here and do all this build and turn this into a WrestleMania moment? We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We will legitimately see. It's as simple as that. Our main event of the evening. The first ever Women's Royal Rumble. Historic, blah, 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 blah. All that old good stuff. And I'm not sitting up here saying blah, 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 blah. I'm not finna say that. Because, see, I do not want to understate what this means for professional wrestling and not sports entertainment. There have been women in the Royal Rumble match. There has never been a Royal Rumble match full of women superstars. When I think about all 30 contestants, the main thing that was me that I knew at some point Trish Stratus was gonna come out, and she came out at number 30. Like, I kind of knew, because it's like, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the surprise Royal Rumble, because when I sit up here and legitimately think about the rosters for both Raw and SmackDown and who you may want to bring over from NXT to fill the rosters, you're going to have some surprises coming in because of you need to put 30 women in a wrestling match. But it was a great thing. I'm like, my girl Sasha, who I wanted to win this thing, even though I knew that Destiny was going to say otherwise, she did a thing. I'm going to shout out to her. I'm like, Becky Lynch did a thing too. It was good to see Miss Kairi Sane, a.k.a. Gokai, okay, Luca Milfi, the wrestler. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to, do things and shit on Kairi Sane. I'm not trying to do that. But she did her thing. I was glad to see her. I'm like, Lita came out at number 5. Like, which was legitimately odd. But when it's like, I knew there was going to be surprises. But I had no idea that girl Lita was going to come out. I had no idea. And she kicked ass. It was good to see Tori Wilson. I'm like, hell, right before her, Dana Brooke came out and she clowned for a little bit, did a little bit of work. You know what I'm saying? Molly Holly came out, which is kind of weird. I wish she would have came out as Mighty Molly since, stand back, there's a hurricane coming through. You know what I'm saying? Gregory Helms as the hurricane. That'd have been kind of cool. Michelle McCool was in this Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying? A.k.a. the wife of the dead man. You know what I'm saying? Thicky Guerrero. I love me some Thicky Guerrero. Like, I remember she had that mud wrestling match with Stephanie McMahon. That changed me as a man. That showed me a lot of things about me as a person. But Thicky Guerrero, like, she knows she thick and still wearing that cougar chain. And I'm like, tasty. What else? Kelly came out too. You know what I'm saying? Doing her thing. Miss Jackie came out there doing her thing a little bit. The other person who came out right after Jackie, who I want them to do anything, is Nia Jax. She's so pretty. Nia Jax so pretty and thick. I'm just like, that's not a reason to root for somebody, but she pretty. She pretty. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm like, I wish they would do more with her. I wish they would do it, not because she's some stupid thick sexy thing, but I really want them to do more with my girl Nia Jax. Right after her, the current reigning defending NXT Women's Champion Miss Ember Moon came out there and put in some work. Like, she hit somebody with a Luke Kane kick, and I was like, okay. Given how much you be on up, down, that don't surprise me at all. You know what I'm saying? Right after her, Beth Phoenix came out, and I was like, Beth Phoenix? And then, she tried to pick up Nia Jax, and then I may have, while I was sitting with my homeboy watching it, made some joke about, her spine might get broken like her husband, and it's like, that was wrong of me. That was wrong, and I shouldn't have said that. Right after her, the Empress of Tomorrow, who would ultimately win this matchup, Asuka. And we'll talk more about Asuka in a second. There was, Yes and Brie Mo activated, you know what I'm saying? Because both Nikki and Brie Bella came out at 27 and 28. Bailey came out at 29 and didn't do anything at all for real. But, they've wasted Bailey as a character since they, put the title on her a long time ago. And then they had, Miss Twisted Bliss herself set up her and do that "This Is Your Life" segment, which, completely torpedoed the character in any way, shape, or form. And then Trish Stratus came out at number 30. Which I was glad to see her, because it's like I knew that if you gonna sit up here and you gonna wheel out Lita, and I use this word wheel out Lita, Trish Stratus gonna be in. I thought she was gonna come out at 29 and they was gonna do something crazy at number 30. But for her to come out at number 30, for her to compete in the first Women's Royal Rumble match, wonderful. But ultimately, Asuka would be your winner. Even with some craziness with the Bellas, talking about "I wish you down in the womb" and all that crazy stuff they were talking about each other years ago when they were trying to feud with each other. You know what I'm saying? Asuka's your winner. After Asuka wins, being the cute, fine girl she is, pointing at that sexy WrestleMania sign, repeatedly pointing at the WrestleMania sign, she pointed at that thing multiple times. Like, multiple times, just pointed at the WrestleMania sign, right? The champions, both Charlotte Flair and Miss Twisted Bliss herself, in the ring, like, who are you going to choose to face? And then here come Ronda Rousey ass. And I'm just like, no. I'm like, no, for multiple reasons. One, why is she sitting up here with the font of the late, great, "I am an icon," Mr. Roddy Piper? And I'm just like, no. And I'm just like, no. I'm first of all, I'm at no and completely at all this. She walked down to the ring and like, she's sitting up her stern at everybody, and then she repeatedly points at the WrestleMania sign like 30 times. Sitting up here, she tried to say Asuka's hand. Asuka's not hearing none of this. She goes shake Stephanie McMahon hand, like, I guess we not beefing no more, and then points at the WrestleMania sign some more, and then the show goes off. So now we're left with a whole bunch of questions. One, Ronda Rousey, what the hell are you doing here? Don't you have some UFC octagon to go get your ass whooped by some girl named Chris Cyborg? Number one. Two, please go back to UFC, because I'm not saying that we don't want you here, but right now this is a very, very weird and odd time for you to be here right now, because Asuka's going to choose who she's going to demolish at WrestleMania. You're just interrupting things. You fine, you cute, you love Pokemon, that's wonderful, great, but just not right now, okay? And it's like, for her to just walk out there and to think that she gonna storyline face whoever Asuka don't, she need to get in the ring and wrestle. And they just gonna send a whole bunch of jobbers out there between now and WrestleMania to prove her point. And if she win the title at WrestleMania, the internet wrestling community is gonna start riding this. So not that it matters. I'm just saying, like, what the cause and effect of this is. I'm not saying that Ronda Rousey isn't deserving. Before they showed that she wasn't invincible, she was over there in UFC destroying everybody. Not everybody, everybody. Everybody in the club get your ass whooped in this octagon, player. And then she got hipped up. And then they figured out what you gonna do. Now I'm in the WWE now. But it's like, but they've been sitting up here trying to do this thing with Ronda Rousey for years now. So it's like, given that that you've done all this, it's like when I think about it in retrospect and in hindsight, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. That makes sense as a thing that you do, because that's a thing you do. Okay, I'm with you. This is going to be an interesting build to WrestleMania. That's just live and automatic. This is going to be one hell of an interesting build to WrestleMania with everything involved. It's like, more people are going to point at the WrestleMania sign. And I'm going to report, as they point at that WrestleMania sign, as we still got the Elimination Chamber, we still got Fastlane. I don't know if they're going to do a roadblock end of the line or something like they did a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? Damn Dean Ambrose and Triple H match, but hey, what you going to do? Look, the road to WrestleMania has begun. We started this vehicle, someone hit the pedal, and we can't stop until, somebody points at a WrestleMania sign, and then another person points at a WrestleMania sign. So we're picking up a lot of people as they point at WrestleMania signs and do things. It's going to be legitimately interesting, given what WrestleMania was last year, is that they down in the Big Easy. So, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. We ain't been down there since WrestleMania Triple X. You know, like, it's Guilty Gear Triple X, but, you know, it's not that. Xrd, you know, what up? Look, Internet. I'd like to thank you for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks on the Royal Rumble. Again, you know what I'm saying? Congratulations to every professional wrestler out there who is of the fair sex. Nigga, we made it. No, bitch, we made it. No. I remember when Stephanie McMahon came out there, when all the women was out there beefing, and then they played her music, and thick Stephanie McMahon walk out there like, I'm so thick and I will bury you because my husband had the shovel, and like, yo, you finna announce the first Women's Royal Rumble, ain't you? And they did. And they didn't disappoint. So how about that? Scat, Skittle, and Skababa. We got plenty of work coming, so stay tuned right here to this channel. Again, I am the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And with that being said, I'll holler at you guys next time, man. Peace out.